Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we are specifically going to talk about the player character voiceover. All right, let's get into this. All right, so I'm going to talk pretty extensively about the television show 1883 in this content. However, there are no spoilers for 1883 in this. All right, so let's move forward. So I finished the show 1883 season 1. It was 10 episodes, and it is absolutely spectacular. It is a story of a group of German immigrants who they migrate from Germany to America. They land on the American Eastern Shore, and they then set out to go from the far eastern side of the America. Like I live on the east coast of America, Pennsylvania, and they're going to go to Oregon. Okay, and they hire three specific. Civil War veterans to help them get there, right? And then the entire show is about bandits they come across. It's about their interaction with the Native American people. It's about what they encounter in the frontier towns and cities as they go across the country. It's about crossing rivers. It's about food and supplies. It's about trying to do something incredibly difficult with, like they're trying to travel across country, and the people, and one of the guys is a pianist, right? He knows nothing about, survival or travel, or, he's not really a rough and tumble person. It's just one of the, and entire families, just don't know how to do this incredibly difficult thing that they're trying to do. It's about struggle, right? It's incredible. It's it's a Western, right? But it's also like it's a Western that really ignores a ton of Western tropes and shows parts of American Western, like the classic cowboy era, right, in ways that have never been seen before. So as a dungeon master, this is definitely every dungeon master content. And the reason why is the narrative that's being displayed here is incredibly high quality, and there's 15 things that any dungeon master is going to walk away with. Now, all this comes from Taylor Sheridan doing. Now, Taylor Sheridan, I looked it up. I was like, "Who's Taylor Sheridan?" Right? Well, I'd already watched half of his shows. He was connected to The Shield. He did. I think one of his biggest works was Sons of Anarchy. And also he has this massive hit on his hand right now, which I highly recommend, called Yellowstone. And 1883 is actually a prequel to Yellowstone. I normally detest prequels, and this really, this prequel, this is top 10 television show I've ever watched in my entire life. I'm 52 years old. This definitely falls in the top 10 shows I've ever watched. And 1883 is even better than Yellowstone, and Yellowstone is fantastic, right? So it's an incredible story, right? In this film, there are two actors who do an absolutely just jaw-droppingly good job of showing what a player character should do, right? Which is bring life to the story through absolutely spectacular acting of a player character, right? So two player characters in this story, right? And what I mean by player character in a television show? Well, player character in a television show is a non-extra. They're a protagonist, right? They're protagonists. So one, they're on the good side. In Dungeons & Dragons, there's a strong tradition of playing neutral or good, right? It's very rare that anybody plays an evil character. It does happen. The game even allows it. It allowed it in first and second edition. I don't think it explicitly allows it in 5th edition. I think it just doesn't permission it, right? It doesn't forbid it. It doesn't really permission it in any way that I've seen in 5th edition. But it was absolutely explicitly permissioned, at least in Dungeons & Dragons 1st edition, to play an evil character. So player character in a television show is, and then an actor takes that character and they just dump their soul into it, right? And there's two actors in this, Isabella May and Sam Elliott. And Isabella May is playing this young female cowboy, right? And Sam Elliott is playing a super old grizzled cowboy. And this is also every Dungeons & Dragons player content. Because if you want to know how to pour life into a character, I have never seen better, like, crafting of a character and making the story sing from what they're doing on screen, and every single, like, the movement of a face, the cadence of a walk, it's incredible. I've never seen anything like this, right? So one of the things that happens is Isabella May, she's the actress who plays this young female cowboy who is, traveling with these German immigrants. And what she does is every episode, and at multiple times in the episode, she does a player character voiceover. She just talks in the voice of her character with knowledge that she shouldn't have as a person, right? Like future knowledge, right? And also this deep philosophical, like, things like this, like, in the West, I found that, life was going to be hard, and anyone who had a single point of weakness in them, their only way to survive would be to attach to the strong. If they attach to other weak people within the group, the West would take them, right? And like things like that. You're like, whoa, like. And the other thing is, like, she's just a cowboy, right? She shouldn't have this, overarching philosophical view, but she has it because she's a cowboy on this trip. But before this, she was like a cultured lady and had, was well written and well read and all that kind of thing. So she's an incredibly interesting character. But these player character voiceovers, right, that are in the show, they're incredible, and they elevate 1883 from prose to literature, right? From hey, this is entertainment, to this is high art, right? Now we're in the same space. We're playing Dungeons and Dragons, and if you care about Dungeons and Dragons and you want to be a peak tier dungeon master, right? And you're like, hey, it's not enough for me to create a good table, a good experience for the people at my table. I want the experience here to be life-changing for them. I want them to change as people, and I want the story of this story to radiate out to the culture and change lives even beyond my table, right? Then you're in the same business. You're exactly where Taylor Sheridan is. You're trying to stop making entertainment and trying to make high art with Dungeons and Dragons, right? And I'm telling you, the power of this voiceover is incredible, right? And I'm thinking that we should introduce and allow and encourage and immediately begin experimenting with player character voiceover, right? So your characters are traveling from Waterdeep to Phandalin to Neverwinter, right? When they leave Waterdeep, you say, Sally, give me the voiceover, right? And start it like this. You're like, hey, and Sally go, what do you mean a voiceover? I want you to talk in the voice of your character from an all-knowing, like, eagle in the sky perspective, and I want you to give us the voiceover as your warband leaves, your Dungeons and Dragons adventuring party leaves Waterdeep. What does the sun look like? What do you smell, right? And the player's going to be like, what? And the thing is, you're asking Sally because she's your best player, right? Now, one of two things is going to happen. She's going to start the voiceover, or she's going to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. And that's okay, right? And so what you're going to do then is you wait until, next session when Phandalin is coming, and you will say, yeah, yes. So, and then, so you'll wait until the next session, and then at that point you will say, hey, give me the voiceover. And there'll have been an entire session for them to have thought about this, right? And then at that point, they're going to give this voiceover, right? And the reality is you need to hold on lightly because you're giving up you're giving up some control of your story. You're giving some of your power and your agency as a dungeon master, your player character. And this is the future of Dungeons and Dragons, is dungeon masters leaning less on their power and their privilege and their rights and giving more of those to the players, right? So if you want to be like Taylor Sheridan and move your game from entertainment to high art, consider using the player character voiceover. That's my opinion. What do you think? Do you think this would work in your game? Do you have somebody who could do it? Are you willing to give up that power and that agency that this would require and some of the control of your story? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.